Hey, it's Joe. I'm back to continue my list of how I would rank the top 100 of IMDb. Let's get into it. All right, starting at number 60, I have 12 Angry Men. What a just solid, like single location film. You just have across the board solid acting. You've got a simple premise and actually quite a bit of drama from such a simple premise. It's a classic for a reason. I mean, a lot of like legal movies, while they don't necessarily copy this exact setup of just the jurors as much as like most of them focus on like the actual lawyers and like the actual courtroom part of it. I think there's still something that they glean from this classic, like just the like concessions that people make, the arguments that people make in like courtroom dramas and just movies in general, just the simplicity of the premise and just how perfectly executed it is what makes this movie stand the test of time. Just a really great movie. And to be honest, I think it's probably my favorite Sidney Lumet movie. Or Sidney Lumet, I don't know. I think it's Sidney Lumet. I know another one of his movies was, I think, Murder on the Orient Express, and I did not like that movie at all. But this is definitely his most well-known movie. Great. Number 59 is going to be Cinema Paradiso. So good. If you want to watch a movie that's going to pull at your heartstrings, especially if you love movies, this is going to do it for you. It follows the story of a like small Italian town with like a small theater that's like run locally essentially. It's not like a chain. Obviously, it's a small town. And it's funny that it like you see the journey of the town as like the kid grows up, the adults get older, and it's just like this portrait of the town, almost with the cinema as like the main meeting point of its people. And you see how it changes from its like humble beginnings, and like you get to like more modern times and like neon signs and stuff like that. So you see how the theater itself changes, and besides the cinema itself, it just tells a great story of the main character as he grows up. You know, he becomes a man. He like falls in love, and it's just like these classic themes, but the ending is just like so like poignant, and it'll really like make you just sad. It's a very human ending. I recommend it. Great movie. Number 58, a lot of the same reasons. The Pianist. Probably Adrian Brody's greatest role. And as a Holocaust film, you know that it's going to be sad. Like, it's just a given with this category of film. And it's just so sad, and like definitely it's going to give you a lot of emotions. And just Adrian Brody, the depth that he brings, and the dedication to the role, because I know that he like was actually the one playing the piano for like there's like one main song in the film that he wanted to play himself, and where most movies would have a double, or maybe you just see the hands and it's like a professional pianist, and then in the wide shots it's like he's just pretending to play. Adrian Brody actually did play, and knowing that, it adds to his performance, and it shows that like when he's playing the notes, it's real. So he's really feeling it, and he doesn't have to pretend to just move his like fingers on the keys. It just comes across as more genuine, and it really makes the movie just better overall. Another great movie like that, where the music actually being played makes it better, is a movie like Amadeus. Both great movies. Number 57, Aliens. This is my most recent of the ones I've said rewatch. I actually rewatched it, I think, last week, and it's still holds up. It's really, really good. But for my money, the original is still unmatched. It's still the best of that series. I actually saw Alien 3 for the first time right after, because I had been avoiding it because everybody said it was really bad, and they were right. Alien 3 is really bad. And it's not even for the most common complaint that people have about one of the main story points of how the film opens, as much as it is just the writing. I just feel like there's a lot of convenience for like the setup that it has. There's just a lot of bad writing. But Aliens is a great action movie. It's got great characters. James Cameron knows what he's doing, and you can't go wrong with Aliens. All right, number 56 is going to be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I saw this for the first time like within the last few years, and I was just so impressed because I had actually been building up to watching it. I had seen the other Clint Eastwood films that he did with Sergio Leone, and I know that they were very pretty much American unofficial remakes of famous Kurosawa like samurai films. Like I know that like For a Few Dollars More or Fistful of Dollars, one of those is just straight up I don't remember the name of the Kurosawa film, but it's just like Kurosawa made it a Ronin like showing up to a town, and the town is plagued by bandits, and he has to scheme, and he's like playing both sides, and it's literally the same film in like Fistful of Dollars or For a Few Dollars More, one of those. So I was so impressed that The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, how epic it was, and how like just Sergio Leone's just his style. There's just so many close-ups, and the film stock is just grabbing so much detail, and he does these like extreme close-ups where you're gonna see like the dirty faces of the actors and just like their pores, and just the editing style that like you saw how much it inspired somebody like Quentin Tarantino. And it's just really, really good. This is not my favorite of his, but it's a great film. Definitely worth watching at least once in your life. Number 55, Old Boy. I caught this, I rewatched it during its 4K re-release that Neon did recently. I think it was Neon. And it just still holds up so well. Frequently mentioned in lists of like, oh, the best twists of all time, best endings of all time, craziest movie thing, twists, craziest movie plots of all time. And yeah, it deserves to be there. If you haven't seen Old Boy, do not watch the American remake. Watch the original. I haven't seen the American remake, but knowing the changes that it does, it's definitely objectively worse. You have to watch the original. Hopefully it hasn't been spoiled for you. This movie is insane, and you're not ready for the ending, and it's just so well done and so well acted. You have to see it. Number 54, mentioned it earlier, Amadeus. What a great film. Just spectacular acting by F. Murray Abraham. This is easily gonna, like, this is his best film role ever. Like, just hands down. And just like the perspective of it not being your typical biopic about like, oh, let's just do a biopic about Mozart. It's like, no. We gotta go deeper than that. We're gonna do a movie about Mozart from the perspective of somebody that was his contemporary, like in music, but that hated him. Like the rivalry. And it's just such a unique perspective, and it really adds to the drama. It's like you, as a contemporary of Mozart, you had to have felt like all the hype he was getting and how good he was, right, at what he did, and you just weren't at his level. He was that good, and it's crazy to think of like trying to be in that space. I guess it's like a more modern equivalent would be like Michael Jordan or something, right? Like being a basketball player, like even on his team or like on another team while he was the best player of all time and probably still is the GOAT, right? And just like playing against him and you're like, oh man, like he's always in the spotlight and like maybe you just become bitter. And that's exactly what this movie's about. It's like how bitter you become at like you thinking you're really good and you're so talented, but then this young prodigy just surpasses you in every single way. And you're like in your like golden years, you know, and you're still hearing about this guy and just how bitter and like how angry you are, but you can't help but be bitter, but also just appreciate how good he was. And that's what the movie's about. Definitely you have to watch it. Number 53, The Departed. So good. For an American remake, it's phenomenal what Scorsese did here. And you just have just one of the most stacked like modern casts of like actors that most people think of as like some of the best, right? Modern day. Like you have Jack Nicholson before he retired, like the GOAT. You've got Leo still acting and still being considered like one of the best actors ever, like super selective in his projects. You know, you got Matt Damon, like still talked about, still like one of the best actors currently working today. It's just so full of just twists and turns and just well made. And while it is a remake, I have seen the original. They're both great films. Just Scorsese just brings something to this where he modernized it in a way, because watching the original, it's very much a product of its times. I believe it came out in the 90s, and it comes across a lot in the editing. And it might just be that where it's from. I believe it's a Japanese film. It's called Infernal Affairs. Let me double check that actually. Infernal Affairs. And there's actually a trilogy made if you watch the original. And no, it's a Hong Kong film. So yeah, it's like a Hong Kong mob, and I think the sequels are like prequels actually. So if you want like the full-fledged story, you go check out the original. But only having the one film, Scorsese achieved a lot, and it's just amazing. You definitely got to see it at least once. Coming up next, we've got number 52, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just talk about a classic, right? I've been throwing the word out a lot, but this is just a pure, like, blockbuster classic. Spielberg, right? This is like when he was going on like just a crazy streak of just never failing at making a great movie. And I might say that after a certain point he's kind of become washed, but like I can't deny that his hits are genuine bangers. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, for a reason, such an iconic character, Indiana Jones. It's just such a fun movie. Like you can't it's like nitpicking it to say that it has its flaws for the time. Yeah. But like when you sit down to watch an Indiana Jones movie, you know you're going to have fun. And just the style, like yeah, the style has been like almost like become a meme at this point, like the Spielberg style, and like you have other filmmakers just copying it to death. But for being the original, and like the way it's shot, and then like being inspired by like the pulp, like the 50s inspiration of like adventure novels, right? And then just translating it for the audience at the time, the 80s audience, and it's just how iconic this is. Definitely you need to have seen Raiders of the Lost Ark at least once. All right, number 51, back-to-back Spielberg, Saving Private Ryan. Wow, like easily one of the best war films ever made. Like not even a question that it's one of the best ever made. And some people just straight up don't like war films. And I get it. Like you think they're all the same, or you've seen one, you've seen them all. You just don't care about the setting. There's plenty of reasons not to like them. But if you have any preference for them in any capacity, then you agree that this is one of the best of all time, hands down. The like storming the beach, that like opening part of the fight, that sequence is amazing. Like that sequence makes it an all-timer. And that could have been released as like a short and it would be still be talked about today. But like there's just even more movie to go after that, and like just these characters and like the camaraderie and just everything about it. Tom Hanks, like it hits so many like notes and it does them well. And you got to commend it for that. So that's going to conclude today's list. Let me know what you think about these rankings. Would you put certain movies higher? Would you put them lower? Leave a like, and thanks for watching.